Hello and welcome back. Here we are for the back nine coverage of the Alutaguse Open being played here at the Alutaguse course. This is also the Baltic Disc Golf Championships brought to you by Innova Europe. My name is Chris Shotwell. I'll be here walking you through the final 9 holes here, and we have some pretty scorching scores through the front 9 for this lead card here. Got Mauri Villmann, who's sitting at 21 under through 3.5 rounds, being followed up by Joona Heinänen, sitting at 22 under, coming off of a nice little stretch of some great birdies to close out the front 9. Otto Mäkinen, sponsored by Team Power Grip, sitting at 21 down. Been showing some good life lately, putting stroke looking strong. And finally, we've got Nestori Tuhkanen sitting at 20 under. Also feeling very good about how his front 9 has gone. Coming into hole number 10 here, we've got ourselves a pretty tricky and yet at the same time super easy par 3, 88 meters. As long as you throw the shot right down the middle, this is a very straightforward hole. Something about seeing that little structure there, the triple Mando, is going to force you straight down a path, maybe make you question your swing at the last second. So all about just trusting your shot here, throwing the shot that you know you've thrown 1,000 times before for all of these guys. And looks like it didn't quite get the flip up that Joona was looking for. Unfortunately, he slides underneath the banner and doesn't make the Mando. And Otto showing us exactly what it looks like when it's easy. Pretty straightforward at 88 meters. These guys can pick whatever disc is comfortable for them. This could be a putter, this could be a mid-range. Seen some forehands with some drivers through there before. Ultimately, whatever you feel the most comfortable in. And with the wind being down, this is a hole these guys are definitely looking to card a birdie on. Mauri yanked that just a little offline to the right. Fortunately, stayed straight and caught some banner and kicked back to the left. That counterclockwise spin helped kind of save that disc. So we've got 2 shots through the Mando, and we've got one here still with a chance for birdie. One putt probably sitting out around 16 meters or so. Gives it a solid bid, just a little off to the right. Now Joona from the drop zone trying to salvage that par. Ah, nearly connects. Everything but in the basket. There's that good smooth, that tempo on his putting stroke is very impressive watching it. He seems very committed to the speed and getting the pace on his putt. Nestori and Otto getting some very good birdies there. Straightforward as that hole looks, still a great birdie to card. Bit of a separator over a lot of the field there. You'll see some bogeys very, very easily rack up there, so if you can go through there nice and clean, that's going to be strokes on folks. And into one of the more unique holes of the course here, hole 11, a par 3, 105 meter with about 6 different shapes that you have to navigate here, throwing up and over this ridge. Barely want to crest over the top of this ridge so that you can keep the nose down and start climbing back down. Ideally, you'd want your disc pushing straight down this line that the drone is flying on, so the fade of the disc carries it straight to the basket. In theory, it's one that I know every single player on this card is going to be able to throw. It's just very tricky to get the nose angle right and throw the right disc to carry the shot. Looks like we've got a little mid-range approach here. Cresting the hill, pushing nice and straight. Just a little bit early to hold that straight line. He's still got a good look at it, but that's going to be a bit of a tester putt from up above. Looks like Nestori is setting up for a little bit more flex angle there, pushing it over to the right side, staying in the open air, and nearly getting some contact with metal there. That is a fantastic shot. This is a hole that feels just so good to execute the line you want to hit, and then anything in the circle just feels like a bonus. Mauri a little tight to the right side, pushing through the gap. Looked like that just kind of stayed over to the right for him. Might have kicked a tree. He'll probably just be laying that up for a routine par from there. Looks like Joona might be grabbing a putter here. Is this a AVR 3 perhaps? Joona's power opens up some disc possibilities that I had yet to consider. Catches some early tree. Just gonna have some gaps to navigate still to get through here. If you don't beat this first row of trees, it's gonna force you into throwing some awkward lines. And unfortunately, looks like he hung that shot out just a little bit wide and got his second tree of the hole. Yep, nice pitch up there. Get his routine tap in. This is another one. Much as you want to run that putt, it's almost impossible to talk yourself into it. You can see a lot of drop away from the ground behind the basket still. So any miss from this range is going to be punishing. Looks like Otto wasn't worried about that even a little bit, though. Very nice birdie from there. Nestori keeping the hot putting stroke going. Back-to-back birdies for those two. And unfortunately, a second bogey in a row for Joona, so he's going to try to right the ship and get back on track here. Everybody's playing in pairs so far. Hole 12. This is a hole that can be very dependent upon what the weather conditions are. You may see some lines open up with the winds down here that probably wouldn't see if the wind's blowing hard. 140 meter par 3. It's a good powerful tee shot, well within everybody's range on this card. We're probably going to see a lot of this hyzer play up to the right of the big tree through the opening, and that's going to filter its way back down to the green. It can be a little tricky to get the disc to swing far enough back to the left. That was a good looking line there, just leaves a little bit of meat on the bone for the putt. Looks like we're going to see this hyzer play again. With the wind low, you could see some shots going up that left gap a little straighter at the pin, but the true hyzer play is so much more predictable. I think the field is going to lean that direction more times than not. For somebody that doesn't quite have the power to throw a 140 meter high hyzer line, you probably will see a little more technical line, and it looks like Mauri is lining that up right now. Playing for a little bit of a flat release to a slight little drift over. There is OB on the left side here, but as long as you get a little bit of turn on the disc, should be no problem. And very well executed. Gets up into the circle, gives himself a good look. Joona taking a minute just to make sure he's got all the calculations dialed in just right. Gets plenty of good height on the disc. That should have a lot of room to swing back. Hopefully it's just got the power. Ends up coming up a little short of where he was looking, but probably has a look from just outside the circle. Nestori catching this tree. That is a pretty pretty thickly leaved tree, so not too many discs are going to fight through that thing. He's just going to have a relatively routine. Fortunately, he kicked forward enough under the branches there that he's got some open air space, and puts it up there just outside of the bullseye. Joona's felt good from about that range. We've seen him make a couple of those 12.5-meter putts already this round. That one just a hair to the right. Doesn't quite fall home for him. So Otto, with no danger, there's no OB behind, putting uphill, can give this a good committed stroke, as he does. Just misses a little bit high. And Mauri with the chance to get the lone birdie on the card now. Spins it home. Nice clean spin out of the hand. Never a doubt. So a good little comeback hole there. Mauri getting the birdie on the card. Everybody else looking to tap in their pars. This hole does average under par for the field, averaging at 0.17 strokes below. So we know there's plenty of birdie opportunities there, but it's still a shot that does take a considerable amount of power to traverse 140 meters on a high hyzer. So don't know if I'd consider this one a bonus birdie necessarily, but one that always is going to feel good to get. Moving into hole number 13, we've got a nice little downhill 100-meter par 3. We could see a few different attacks here. We can see from the course map on the right there is a bit of an island we've got here that we're going to be, it's somewhat forgiving on the short side. If you come up and hit some of the early tree, there's a lot of room you can still land in bounds. Ultimately, everybody here is trying to put this thing right in the bullseye. On a low straight line, there's a couple different options. We're going to see the sidearm route from Mauri to start off. Attacking, we've got a nice little circle out there with a lot of room to catch that disc. Otto lining up a hyzer approach with the wind down. This is a very viable play here. Put it up high and let it spike straight down. Very similar to the shot we saw him throw on hole 8 with something very overstable that's just going to fall straight down. It looks like he's got that dialed in nicely. Nestori just ripping a flat mid-range right up the middle. Probably exactly what the course designer had in mind when they created this hole. Looks like Joona is going back to his AVR 3. I believe that's what he's throwing there. Probably looking to follow a very similar line. Just go and stand still, not a shot that requires a whole lot of power. Just one you want to keep the disc on the straight line, and he's just hoping for a little bit of fade back to the basket. Looking like an ace run from the tee pad, no doubt. Lucky to stay inbounds on the long side there, but still in the circle, right there in his putting range.
Thanks.
And good stroke from Mauri. Ooh, a little bounce off the pole, but once again, seeing not a surprise. There's a lot of birdies. This is playing as the second easiest hole on the course. Pretty straightforward for the MPO field. Just got to control your distance. Hole 14 here. as a par 3 goes, this is one that's a little intimidating. 132 meters, so not the longest par 3 on the course, but with the wind factor and the OB lining the left and the right side, you've got this pin elevated up on top of this big rock with the nice rock circle surrounding it. Really just got to pick a disc that you can trust throwing on a good straight flat line, hugging the right side OB the whole way. Mauri putting a touch of hyzer on it, making sure it's going to swing its way back and attack that green, making 132 meters look pretty easy to cover right there. And we're seeing this race for the top of the card here starting to develop. Joona with a couple of bogeys earlier on has fallen back from the card, but Otto sitting at a 1 stroke over Mauri and Nestori, looking to finish the round strong, and that's exactly what he was looking for. Nice smooth little backhand, never put the disc in any danger of turning off of its line. Seeing this kind of aired out to the right side a little bit more, playing more of a spiking hyzer. It doesn't quite finish as far back to the left, so outside of those rocks, he's going to have probably a good 15-16 meters up to the elevated pin for his birdie. Joona checking the wind up in the leaves above him. I'm guessing he's probably just throwing his T-bird there. Looks like it does find its way back in bounds. That was in danger of staying out to the right a little bit, but does work its way back in. Probably tough spot to try to attack for a birdie putt. We can see the wind starting to become a little bit more of a factor out here now. Coming out of the trees, these more open holes are gonna expose you a little bit more to the elements. A little bit of a headwind putt coming up here. Just off the right side. A good cleanup there though, minimizing the damage. But with Mauri and Otto sitting in here very close, looks like Otto's got a chance to get the lone birdie on the card. Which he does. A surprising miss from Mauri at that range, but just got a little bit of lift. That's one of the challenges putting on these elevated targets. You got to know you got to put the nose of the disc up high enough to get over the rim, but if they start to climb out of the hand, you can see exactly that happen. And this is a fun hole here, hole 15. Par 4, you've got those guardian trees right in front of you, fair gaps to hit in between each of them. You just have to commit to whatever shot shape you really want. To really carry up here, you're going to be trying to get as close to this rock line as possible, and that's where the hazard is going to begin. Area between the rocks and this little retaining wall is all hazard, and then you're trying to shoot out to this little perched up green, little OB on the left side there, and just past the basket. That's going to keep you honest, and that slope down to the right side is going to make the approach shot that much more challenging. So very common, we'll probably see this third gap out to the right, or we could see some wide hyzers going all the way around the trees like this one does. Playing all the width of the fairway, getting up here. A lot of confidence to attack from out there, but he did swing the disc far enough back to the left that he's got a good open line to the target from there. Yeah, maybe this wide route is going to be the preferred play. When I had played this course in the past, perhaps the wind was a bit more of a factor where people were making some more decisions on which gap they were going to hit. This looks a little more straightforward. They're going to take the most airspace possible, throw that wide hyzer, try to just basically get as much distance as you can on that line. And we're seeing everybody kind of group together there in a very similar spot. All the work on this hole is done from the second shot. Joona looked like pretty tight to the tree, but gets out there nice and wide. Joins the group. Everybody gets to observe and watch what's working well. So it looks like we've got that wind ripping from the right coming back in. Putting that disc up, hoping the wind doesn't push it too far back up the hill. That's going to be right at the edge of the circle. Bit of a scary look there with the slope behind the pin falling away, but definitely still in the wheelhouse right at the edge of the circle. Mauri canceling out the wind by throwing the angle, keeping the disc flat against it. Trust in that sidearm shot. He's going to have an equally scary putt. Maybe a slightly better angle, not looking so straight down the hill though. There's a good flat release. Just got to make sure the distance is spot on. And it is. Throwing darts out there. He doesn't like it out of his hand. Finishing down to the right, which keeps it from being parked, but now he's got a good uphill look at the pin, and the wind might not be quite so scary for him from down below. So even though that wasn't exactly what Otto was looking for, he's still got a good chance to capitalize. Straight headwind, we can hear that ripping into the microphone. Mauri's putt is just so good in the wind. Just a perfectly tight spin. You can see that's not being pushed around by the wind at all. Very confident stroke there. Unfortunately, just off the left side for Joona. Otto just off the left side as well. So a couple of very good birdies there for Nestori and Mauri. Keeping things nice and tight up near the top. That's going to push us into a very difficult little stretch of 3 finishing holes here. Hole 16, this par 5, 260 meter, wide open off the tee, but you're really trying to land in a very exact spot. We see this road kind of coming up the hillside here. Anybody that's getting a drive that's going to land up near the top of this road is setting up for a very easy second shot. We're going past the FPO basket now, navigating our way all the way back through the woods. So many different trees to try to navigate your way around. Really just trying to pick a particular lane that you can get as much of the distance as possible. It really doesn't matter if you're left or right here. And then we get up to our green, which is set up on this little peninsula with a lot of scary roll away potential, or fall away potential, I guess I can say. Nothing is easy on this hole until you've seen your disc actually get down in the basket. A lot of players, looks like Mauri is choosing to do exactly this, are just going to play this forehand up to the base of the hillside, realizing it's not worth the risk of trying to attack and get up the hill. They're going to just do all their work from the second and third shot. Like Nestori's got a good distance driver in hand here, trying to rip something that's moving slightly left to right and then flattening out. And this looks ideal. Oh, just catches that one tree that kept him from skipping onto the little road there. That's a fantastic shot. Hopefully he's still got some good footing to get some power into his second throw. That's gonna have to flip. Otto asking for it and getting it. Nice little kick down into the flat road area. That's a tremendous drive. Way to know your disc there, Otto. Joona is going big. finding his way through the trees into a landing spot I have never seen before. He is almost in circle one for the FPO target. That's just a phenomenal drive. Mauri, as predicted, perfect little landing spot down below the hill. He has certainly practiced his approach shot from down there. Tough to have the second shot cresting up the hill and then getting a nice long flat carry after that, though. Looks like he caught a tree that he's going to still have some work to do to get up to the pin. Nestori up on the left side there. There are quite a few angles. He's probably looking at a couple attractive little sidearm approach angles from where he's at. Otto is shaping a nice little turnover sidearm, playing up to this left side and giving a little wake-up call to the group ahead. He's going to have a very nice little approach up to that green. Nice to eliminate the stress on a hole like this. Joona, I don't know if he practiced from that spot or not, but throwing from an area that I had not predicted. So here's Mauri's third, flipping up nicely. Caught just a little bit of cabbage that might have caught, took a little bit of speed away. Still in good shape to pitch up and get his par from there, though. And sure enough, Nestori looking at that sidearm angle. Nice and open over there, and you're able to keep some ground underneath the disc instead of throwing over this gap between the fairway and the green. So kind of nice to know that you can kind of use the ground play to skip up to the pin using that line. Joona's looking at the same line. Be looking to throw it in for an eagle from there. Very nicely done. Good touch on that to land very close to the pin. Little blind jump putt. I'm not sure if he realizes how close he was, but just barely getting up and catching the green. Already giving that a nice little run from there. Definitely not conceding. He was trying to draw some metal. Solid putt. Good birdie from that range. We've seen Nestori can quite a few putts from that range. Looks like he is very comfortable from putting from outside the circle. So, Card capitalizing here, getting 3 birdies. Mauri taking the par. Keeping the race down to the finish, even as tight as you would hope for the final round of a tournament like this. Hole 17 is not one you can let up here yet, though. 118 meters, par 3. Got OB lining all over this fairway. The gap coming off of the tee does open up a couple of different options you can pick from. You've got a backhand line through the gap that you're really just trying to make sure you miss the early trees. Or you've got this sidearm line where you've got a lot more open airspace, but you're going over OB the entire time here and just hoping to swing the disc back down to the right and get back in play. Takes a lot of power on that sidearm to get up to this pin. That was nicely done. Looks like he is inside the circle there. Very calculated, of course, here to lean on your strengths. Otto looks like he came down and caught just enough earth. Wow, barely out of bounds. It was tough to tell from that angle. Saw the disc sit and plug right there, but unfortunately it was just on the other side of the stake. Joona's going to show us this backhand line straight through the gap. Hopefully a little bit of flip up on this thing to keep it nice and straight, because there is this OB on the left. And he keeps it in. Just outside the circle for Joona. Nice shot. on his very strong sidearm game. Putting quite a bit of hyzer on that. And just outside the bullseye. Yeah, nicely done. Using that little bit of a step putt from just outside the circle to give it enough power to get home. Big putt here now for Otto. He's holding on to a one-stroke lead. Really needs this putt to hold on to the lead. And just catches a little too much of the right side. That was a lot of chains, but unfortunately spits out. Mauri spinning home his birdie putt. Gets him up to 25 under par. Nestori up to 26. So a little bit of movement on this 17th hole. Got a change in the lead, and 3 players still right there ready to take it home. Hole 18 is one that is gonna present a lot of opportunity. If you want to get aggressive here, you have a chance for an eagle. This 188 meters is reachable from this high elevated tee. Got OB Road on the left side with that little L shape. You've got the OB field out to the right. So you really do have to either pick, am I playing this safe to that landing area over by the drop zone and then pitching it up, or am I gonna go for the glory here and try to reach the green? Now, it's not even a question. Everybody here can reach this basket. Takes a very precise shot with a little bit of wind blowing and the pressure of the final hole on the line. Nestori stepping up and getting aggressive. He is going for the gold. Looks like it's got just a little too much of that hyzer angle on it. Safe inbounds, over off to the left side. Most likely has no look at a putt from there, but he should have a pretty straightforward pitch up to get the birdie. And I would have guessed 18 holes ago that Joona would be going for this hole. This is exactly the type of shot that everyone came to see Joona throw. Airing out the boss. Looks like he's got all the distance and then some, just a little bit left side of the basket, but looks like he could have a very open look to get his eagle on the 18th. Now we got some decision making going on here. Mauri down by a stroke, and he's already seen Nestori get his drive inbounds. He really can't hold back at this point now. He's got to go for this. Needs some flip up, and he gets it. Just needs it to stable out now. And it does. What a shot. Otto has the exact same decision to make here as Mauri just did. Got to expect he's going for the green here as well. Much more low driven line. Trying to keep that disc on a straight line all the way in. Looks like he gets a little bit of late turn at the end, and he is up there with a good open look for his eagle putt. Nestori very smart. He knows the pressure is on the other players to have to make their putt. Joona just a little shy. Gave it a good look, just couldn't quite stay in the air long enough. Oh, he drills it for an eagle. And he was not far from the basket there. If he's putting before Otto, looks like Otto's looking at about 8 meters. Unfortunately, doesn't connect. So Nestori playing the hole pretty perfectly, going into that hole with a one-stroke lead. I think that's exactly what you got to do. put the drive in bounds, get yourself a nice easy birdie, and he's got himself a tie for the lead after that. Mauri's eagle making up a couple of strokes. And it looks like we've got some playoff golf coming here. Mauri Villmann and Nestori are going to head back to the first hole to get the playoff. We're going to go hole 1, hole 15, and hole 18 on a loop until we can determine a winner here. Nestori first on the box. Saw this drive earlier in the round, of course. A good power drive up the hill. Something we need to keep on a good long straight line and make sure it's got enough power up the hill to get into the bullseye, apparently, is the strategy on this playoff. What an amazing shot. That puts either puts pressure on Mauri or releases all of the pressure. He knows he's got to basically pin this thing, so he's got to do nothing but let this thing fly. He's parked this hole plenty of times before, I promise you. But he's going to have to do it again here now if he wants to keep this tournament alive. And unfortunately just doesn't quite finish straight enough to stay in bounds. Baited out at the very last second, and he's already aware. Nestori's up there tapping in. This is just for going through the motions. That doesn't even matter in the slightest. So an unfortunate end after the spectacular eagle on the final hole for Mauri. Nestori takes it down on the playoff hole with an amazing park job on hole number 1. Pretty spectacular finish.
Let me introduce your Baltic Disc Golf Champion, Alutaguse Open 2026, Nestori Tuhkanen.
And there you have it. Tournament director Timo handing over the trophy. Jubilantly raise it up. What a relief for him, I'm sure, to finish that round off with a low stress tap in putt. Just a phenomenal finish down the stretch. We saw a lot of lead changes here, a lot of great scoring, some pretty incredible putting throughout the entire round. That's exactly what you would expect to see on a lead card with players of this caliber playing on a course like this. So a lot of fun to sit here and take this all in. Hope you guys enjoyed watching some of the coverage. Look forward to seeing you guys back here on the Innova Europe YouTube channel for some more awesome disc golf coverage. Get out there and throw some discs in the meantime, and we'll see you back here again for the next tournament.